UvaldeRadio.net, good evening and welcome back to Friday Night Live. We are live, it's Friday night, and we're at Broadway 830 at 100 East Main Street in beautiful downtown Uvalde. And I'll tell you what, it's been summer for a few weeks now, but if summer could be like this for the rest of the year, I'd be okay with that because it's obviously, it's summer in Texas, but this has been the nicest weather it's been since summer started on these Friday Night Live things. So doing it live on the patio, and excited because we have our very own, Uvalde's own, Trevor Black here with me.
You bet, you bet. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
So this is interesting because we usually have guests coming from all over the state, right?
Yes, sir.
For Friday
Yes,
Night Live. They're coming from Lubbock, they're coming from Amarillo, they're San Antonio, anywhere.
Yes,
and so all these outsiders visiting Uvalde, there have been some brutal Friday nights out here in the patio.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
brutal.
You
And I
bet.
feel so bad because we're playing host. We're hosting these outsiders in Uvalde, and it's just, they're just sweating and they're dripping, and we're talking on the radio.
Yes, sir.
And right now it's pretty comfy, right?
Yeah, it is pretty comfy.
I mean, it's warm. You're working. You're putting up stuff, and I'm set up a computer here doing a broadcast. But for Uvaldians,
you bet.
This is pretty easy peasy, right?
Oh, it is. Especially these past couple of days too. I mean, these past couple of, I guess, weeks really just been brutal. And this just cooler kind of breezy weather is just perfect right now.
The weather over the last, and it wasn't so bad having a little bit of rain in the 4th of July area too. But man, about 2 weeks ago, when it came and hit us out of nowhere, we're talking 115 degrees, like bam, out of
Yes,
nowhere,
sir.
like no warning, no kind of easing into it. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, hit you over the head, right?
And what killed us too is we just got a bunch of that rain, and it was just humid as heck. It was just humid as heck. So when you get that 115 degree heat mixed with that 80% humidity, it just kills you. It really does.
Heat index value is no joke, man.
You bet.
So Trevor's here. You're a Uvalde native, and we're excited to have you here on Friday Night Live. So
you bet.
It's kind of cool to have a home team.
Oh yeah, yes sir. Yes,
so speaking of the heat, well, just one more thing because we sound like old men, and you're a young guy talking about the weather. But did it affect? Were you doing any outdoor shows during that real brutal?
You
week or
bet.
two?
I
Goodness.
had some outdoor gigs, and it's always you can of course see set up over there. I got a fan with me. I always try to keep cool as much as I can. It gets pretty brutal sometimes. It really does.
So some of you musicians are looking for fans, as in followers, but no, man, you got it right. You need a fan, literal machinery.
Yes, sir.
To keep you cool, man. So, and you got plenty of fans and friendly and family and friends as well too. So Trevor, let's go and get caught up, man. You are again a local guy.
Yes, sir.
I hate asking age, but you're a young guy, so go and tell me your age if you don't mind.
18. Just turned 18.
18 years old. Did you just graduate high school recently? Or what's
Yes,
the story
sir.
there?
Yes, sir.
So just this last year.
Yes, sir.
So, interestingly enough, I would say that Uvalde kind of has this, between you and Kay O'Neill down the street, right?
Yes, sir.
You both graduated high school this year.
Yes,
it's kind of like a scene in your age demographic, right?
There really is. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. It's always, I guess, these 2004, 5, 6 babies are just the musicians of our generation, I guess.
Fantastic. So are there any other up-and-coming guys, maybe a little younger than you, or maybe a little in that Brat Pack range that I should know about?
There's a couple guys up there at the high school that, they're just starting to play, and they're just starting to figure it out. And I encouraged them 100%. I'm like, if you want to do it, because it's, you'll have some highs and you'll have some lows, but the highs are the greatest part of doing music. It's the joy and the excitement of being able to entertain people, and it's just it's a good feeling. So I told them, if you're gonna do it, you need to step up and do it. Don't be afraid.
Like Zach Brown said, jump right in.
Yeah, you bet.
Get in. So we just had Kay O'Neill here last week.
Yes, sir.
So this is kind of a cool, 2-week, I guess. These go real well because you guys are basically the local young talent that represents Uvalde County.
Yes, sir.
So I'm excited about that. So she just graduated high school. We talked about that. How was your graduation? How was your senior year, first of all?
Senior year, it was different. Just, I guess my class, really, the class of 2020, 2023, just had it rough, with COVID and everything else that happened. But it's just, I think we only really did about 2 full years of high school, you know, and so just finish it out senior year. It was different. It was still fun, and it still had a lot of good memories and stuff. But it was different, and overall, I say it was a good senior year.
And I've said this before to other people about your age, and I feel like not since world wars and Great Depressions has a generation gone through so much turmoil and just kind of. Whether it was, the pandemic, which was just a worldwide health crisis, and then you've got the Uvalde shooting, here locally. the Uvalde class of, the early 2020s,
Yep.
you guys are going to be that tough generation. And I think that's important because your generation, I think a lot of people could say that a lot of y'all are sissies.
Yeah.
You got to have grown up with computers and
Yes, sir.
smartphones, and
Yes, sir.
and I think I don't think that's me being a curmudgeon or being like a get off my lawn old guy. I mean, because I think technology is great, but I think that most people would be able to say, well, these kids have never gone through any.
You bet.
I graduated in like the early '90s,
Yes, sir.
and we had it easy, man. Matter of fact, my generation. We had color TV and video games, and we didn't know nothing about no wars. There was always people talking about it, but
Yes,
there was nothing, and we certainly didn't even know what a pandemic was.
You bet.
You know what I
You
mean?
bet.
So, and there's our finest, keeping us safe. But again, we're live in the Broadway 830 outdoor courtyard, getting ready for Trevor Black to perform here at Friday Night Live, and so. Getting back to your generation, I think that you guys are going to have some stories to tell and some more wisdom.
You bet.
And I don't think that you guys are going to take things for granted. Like
Yes, sir.
many people, I'm sure that you were looking forward to like proms and big graduation ceremonies and this and
Yes,
that.
sir.
And instead, you had heightened security and you
You
had
bet.
bomb threats and shoot
You bet.
all kinds of stuff.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel personally that this is going to affect your class of 2023, your generation, et cetera?
Like you said, it's just a really eye-opening deal. Really these later generations just have, you could say that we kind of had it easy, like you mentioned. And just to go through these past couple of things, especially in this community, it's been challenging, but in the end, I think it'll all turn out to be positive. We'll all learn a lesson from it, and we'll all gain some life experience that is a lot taken away now through the technology and stuff like that. So I think overall it'll have a positive impact.
I really do. I really hope that that is the lining, the silver lining, of all these problems we've had. But again, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Exactly.
That's what they
Yes,
say.
sir.
So again, we got Trevor Black here is performing tonight for Friday Night Live at Broadway 830. They've got delicious pizza, they've got cold beer, and they've got Trevor performing on the patio. So what's not to be excited about? Showtime is at 7 o'clock. Trevor's got music. We're going to play that here in just a few. Let's go and talk about your first release, which because I want to bring up Studio 3. You're kind of
Yes,
one
sir.
of those Studio 3 kids,
Yes,
right?
sir. You bet.
So this first track was recorded there
Yes, sir.
under Eric and that group. So go ahead and let's go ahead and go back to the beginning as far as how you got into music and how you ended up at Studio 3 learning what you do.
My family's always been involved in music, not so much just instrumental, but we've always listened to it. I mean, we'll burn out, five or six CDs of the same album, kind of deal, but ever since I was growing up. But I've always...
Well, give me an example of some of those albums. What were some of those records?
Just those classic Texas country albums,
cool.
like those Soul Gravy, Cross Canadian Ragweed,
Yeah.
those classic Randy Rogers Band self-titled album. That just kind of stuff was, stuff that was always on repeat.
So
it was always...
you mentioned CCR and Randy Rogers, their first
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes, sir.
Now, Soul Gravy was kind of remade. They kind of
Yes,
retooled
sir.
that, and Randy Rogers just got back with Randy Foster to do the new album.
You bet.
So,
Yes, sir.
do you feel like those latest efforts from those two bands you just mentioned? Are you fans? Or are you liking the direction they're going in still?
I am a big fan of Randy Rogers still. I think he's doing a lot of good stuff, and of course, since Cross Canadian broke up, I call that the greatest breakup in American history, But ever since they broke up, Cody Canada's kind of going on his own and kind of done that thing. And I think he's just missing that one missing piece is still
Yeah.
there from that Cross Canadian Ragweed. And I still love Cody Canada and all the stuff that he does. But really on the remastered album, I really saw it. I was like, man, this is good, but it doesn't have that flair,
Right.
It doesn't have that sass to
It's
it.
just like you take out one of the Beatles, you'd say it ain't the Beatles.
You
know
bet.
what I mean?
Yes,
So
sir.
same
Yes,
difference
sir.
there. Good answer.
Oh, you bet.
All right, so again, Trevor's here. So grew up listening to some good Red Dirt music and
Yes, sir.
influenced by that.
Yes, sir.
Obviously. At what point did you realize you wanted to sing and play, and when did your folks get you into Studio 3?
Ever since I could walk, I always had a guitar in my hand. There's pictures all over our little coffee table and stuff about me just dragging around a little guitar, banging it all up and everything else. But ever since I just really I was little, I really had this just attraction to it, you know, and I really just started, you know, kind of started as the normal story, started playing in church, you know, and started doing that stuff, and sure enough, just started getting guitar lessons and stuff, and just started outgrowing some teachers, and eventually ended up at Studio 3. And I think that was just, they've only been open a year about the time that I joined. So it was relatively new, and they were starting to get off their feet and stuff too. And ever since then, I've been with them, you know, and these past couple of years, they really haven't been just lesson driven and stuff like that. Of course, I've been learning stuff in the studio and that process and stuff, but it's just mainly been the recording side of it and doing the, I guess, the business aspect of it, you know. And it's really been just a neat experience there with Eric, there at Eric's Studio 3. But it's just, you know, it was kind of just a really blessing, you know, to kind of fall into the feet of them. And of course, I've seen them develop over the years. They moved studios and they did stuff like that. So it's just been a neat experience. You know?
You know, and it really is. We really shouldn't take that for granted because. You know, we didn't have a recording studio here for the longest time. So just the fact that, you know, Eric had the gumption to kind of go against the grain and maybe create something and make a space that may or may not have even had a demand for it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I mean, he's just that rock and roll, and he's that into music. So, and if it wasn't there, he certainly created the demand now. So it's great to see those guys flourish. And so you took lessons there for a while. And how did you decide did you always know you were going to be like Texas country, red dirt? That's your thing, or did you did you play around with some other kind of genres a little bit?
You know, of course, just I guess being from the South, you have your Southern rock influences and stuff like that. Your Leonard Skinner, Molly Hatchet kind of stuff. But I've always just been
that a guy your age even knows who Molly Hatchet is impressive. Just put that out there.
You bet. And it's you know, it's just the stuff that I've grown up on for a long time, and it's stuff that I always knew that I wanted to do it. I always wanted to be. I think a quote from Aaron Watson: "I'd rather be an old fence post in Texas than the king of Tennessee." You know, I never really wanted to be. You know, everybody wants to be famous, but I never really wanted to be that main spotlight Nashville guy. I just kind of wanted to be doing what I do because I love it, and that people enjoy it, that I love it. You know, and I feel like that's been conveyed a lot these past couple of years, especially through Studio 3 and the stuff that we've done recording, and all those songs. You bet.
So the first song you released from Studio 3 was called Drifter, if I'm not mistaken. Give me the backstory on Drifter. When was it recorded? What was that process like? What did you learn? And, you know, what were the ups and what were the downs?
You bet. I recorded that song my freshman year. I decided that I wanted to record that song my freshman year. And, of course, that was in the middle of 2020, and that COVID just screwed all that up, you know. Fortunately, we still found some time, and we still found some just spots during certain months to just go into the studio and get bits and pieces done, you know, and it was tough. I had a band, but, you know, everyone was just matching up schedules and stuff like that, and especially just trying to get musicians in there and just trying to record those different instruments. But it was really a neat experience. Just
now, were there any troubles? Because some of us might have forgotten, but there was times when you couldn't get any people out of their house.
You bet.
Some people were just wouldn't leave the house, wouldn't leave without a mask. Certainly, you know what I mean.
Yes,
so, did you have to? Was that some of it too? Was it just hard getting people to come out of the closet? So
it really was, you know. And I say we started in 2020. That was a lie. We actually started in 2019. It felt like we started in 2020, but we started in 2019. We were halfway through. You know, we kind of got just the rough edges kind of rounded, and we were just getting like, this is what we want to do with this song. And sure enough, COVID hit right in the middle of 2020, and it was just a big blow of just progress, really. You know, I feel like this song could have been released a whole lot sooner, and I could have had a lot more time to promote it and stuff like that. But it was just the COVID aspect of it. And that song was I really wanted to record that song for my grandfather. That song Drifter is about just disabled, homeless veterans and stuff like that. And my grandpa was a Vietnam veteran. Speaking of wars and stuff earlier, but. He was a Vietnam veteran, and and I just really valued him a lot. He was my biggest fan in music. He really was. And I really wanted to get that out before he passed, but unfortunately I wasn't. But I still was able to release a song about mid-2020, and it turned out pretty good. It's had a lot of streams and a lot of attention, and I feel like I'm a blessing. That's a blessing in general, just all the support we got, especially through all the hard times that we had.
So you weren't able to get it out in time for your grandpa to catch it, but I'm sure that you've had lots lots of family that's probably opined and told you, hey, man, your grandpa would have thought this.
bet.
What are some examples of what the family has given you?
You know, even just my dad in general, he's like, you know, my dad, or I guess my grandpa,
Right.
his dad would have loved the message and loved he loved, when I say he was my biggest fan, you know, I could sing. When I was first starting guitar and stuff like that, and I could sing "Ring Around the Rosie," and he would think it's the best song in the world, you know. And I think he would have really enjoyed that, not just because it was just dedicated to him, but the message that it served, you know. And I know he came from that tough generation that endured a lot of crap, you know. And I feel like they don't really get the recognition that they deserve, but I feel like it was a really good just dedication song. You bet.
Well, let's get it on, and I'm sure he's listening to it up on high, man.
Oh, you bet. Yes, sir.
Check it out. This is, again, Trevor Black performing live tonight at Broadway 830. Showtime is at 7 o'clock. And come on out and get some pizza, enjoy some cold beer, and check out some great original music. I'm sure going to do some cover songs as well, too. But this is one of those originals, very important to him, so check it out. It's called Drifter. Trevor Black. This is UvaldeRadio.net on Friday Night Live. UvaldeRadio.net, Friday Night Live. Okay, we had an issue with the audio on that song, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get that squared away. Meanwhile, we're going to go and play your current single. We'll come back out of this, and we will talk about the new track, which is called Mexican Wind, but I'm going to go ahead and try to get the audio fixed on your Drifter song. So we apologize for the error here, but I don't know what's going on with the digital file that we've got. But this is Trevor Black. This is called Mexican Wind, and this is brand new on UvaldeRadio.net's Friday Night Live.
Spending my dime, wasting all my time, and dealing with love that ain't ever true. Now I learned it the hard damn way, love will never leave you the same. All that's left is one thing else to do. I'm moving down south to see how far I can go, living off old Merle Haggard and David Allen Coe. And I'm back to where I began, I'm chasing that Mexican wind, 'cause rolling like a tumbleweed ain't that hard. A la heart me dead, I'm going back to being me, hoping this old Chevy will take me far. The only one to blame for playing all these funny games, but love, it ain't never been a friend of mine. But these old rolling white lines keep me from losing my mind. But I'll take it just one thing at a time. So I'm leaving everything in my rear view. Hey girl, I'm sick and tired of this hell I'm put through. So I'm back to where I began, I'm chasing that Mexican wind, 'cause rolling like a tumbleweed ain't that hard. A la heart me dead, I'm going back to being me, hoping this old Chevy will take me far. Down south to see how far I can go, living off old Merle Haggard and David Allen Coe. And I'm back to where I began, I'm chasing that
right, UvaldeRadio.net. We are doing Friday Night Live. Trevor Black, that's a new one called Mexican Wind. Apologies, we had a problem with our sound file for the song Drifter. It looked like it cut off after like 13, 14 seconds. So hopefully I can get that fixed and remedied. But that was the newest track there called Mexican Wind, which I think shows tremendous growth, at least in the studio, between your first single and then your current one. Tell me about Mexican Wind and all that went into making it.
You know, Mexican Wind was really, we started doing that towards the end of COVID, I guess you could say, where everybody starts to come back out and starts to kind of, everything starts to cool off a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like you said, we had an incredible growth, I know, with that song in general from Drifter. I feel like just really in the studio in general, me and Eric, I mean, we're just, just doing stuff, and getting it all figured out, getting it all right, and just learning the processes and doing all that kind of stuff. And I feel like Mexican Wind was just a perfect representation of that growth. But that song was an original that I wrote, and the story I always tell is that there's songs about East Texas, West Texas, and North Texas, Dallas area, Fort Worth. There's never really any songs about South Texas, at least in Red Dirt music. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like just growing up here, my whole life, being born and raised here, I just feel like it deserves a lot more credit than what it receives.
Yeah.
And I guess that song was just kind of a guy who lost his way and just wanted to go back home to where he came from. The chase the Mexican wind, come back to South Texas and get a part of that life again. And in that song, as y'all heard, it's has a little accordion, little Tejano flair in it,
Yeah.
And I feel like that was just a really neat aspect of just bringing that little South Texas flavor to Red Dirt, And I feel like just trying to just find any way we can to include, just staples of South Texas. When you think of South Texas, you think of great Mexican food, mesquite trees, and Tejano music.
Right, for sure.
I just feel like trying to incorporate that was a really cool neat
and I think that's a very novel, almost brave thing to do because, first of all, I mean, let's be honest, Red Dirt really is more about red dirt areas, which is not South Texas, and it's more about Oklahoma and kind of North Texas. So, but they're, like you said, a lot of us down here love the red dirt sound, and it's growing and growing. And along with the growth in popularity, has to come a growth of whether it's lyrical content or like you said, even arrangements with some added flair, Tejano flair in it too. So that's just very much a testament to the growth of the red dirt sound.
You bet.
And I think that's kind of cool. In a way, you might be one of the first to kind of spearhead that movement.
You bet.
You know what I mean? It's kind of cool.
I'd like to think so, at least. If it ever becomes a thing, I can say, hey, guys. No,
that's the first South Texas Red Dirt song right there, man, by Trevor Black, Mexican Wind. All right. Well, again, we got Trevor Black here performing tonight at Broadway 830, 100 East Main Street in downtown Uvalde. I'm still going to try to get that sound file fixed up. So we're going to go ahead and get into another song. We're going to talk to more about stuff with Trevor Black here. But if you can't make it out tonight, you want to see some live music this weekend, our friend Marcy Grace, who was with us here a couple of weekends ago, she is performing with Kevin Fowler tomorrow night at House Pastor in Concan. If you missed my interview with Marcy this morning, well, let's check out her song right now. It's called If You Want the Rainbow. This is brand new by Marcy Grace. Again, you can see her tomorrow night with Kevin Fowler at House Pastor in Concan. And this is UvaldeRadio.net. We'll be back with Trevor Black.
All my friends are getting married, buying houses and having babies. And I'm just out here trying to pay my bills. Gas tank is never full, but that won't stop me from getting to the dream I'm chasing just over that hill. Working hard to work some more, but one day I'm gonna soar, and all the sweat and tears will be worthwhile. I've still got a ways to go, but I'm still burning through this road, 'cause I know soon it'll be my time. No one said it'd be easy, but who wants easy anyways? You only got one life to live, so why not chase your dreams? They say the road less traveled has more turns on the way. If you want the rainbow, you gotta have a little rain. cups and soda cans. Get me through what my body can't. Can't seem to find the time to sleep these days. It's in birthdays and family time. Some get it, some ask why. If they could only hear the prayers I pray. No one said it'd be easy, but who wants easy anyways? You only got one life to live, so why not chase your dreams? They say the road less traveled has more turns on the way. If you want the rainbow, gotta have a little I can see it now. I'm breaking walls down. They're gonna know my name in every town. No one said it'd be easy, but who wants easy anyways? You only got one life to live, so why not chase your dreams? They say the road less traveled has more turns on the way. If you want the rainbow, you gotta have a little rain. All my friends are getting married, buying houses and having babies, and I'm just out here trying to pay my bills.
UvaldeRadio.net. We are doing Friday Night Live. Our special guest tonight is Trevor Black. You just heard Marcy Grace. She's out of San Antonio, and she's going to be warming the stage for Kevin Fowler tomorrow night at House Pasture in Concan. That's her new single called If You Want the Rainbow. And again, tickets are on sale now at housepasture.com. You've been listening all week to win them for free. We're going to have a little meet and greet out there, party down with Kevin Fowler and Marcy Grace tomorrow night at House Pasture, and looking forward to that big show. Tonight, we've got Trevor Black here at Broadway 830 for Friday Night Live. And let's see here. I'm going to try to get your new song, your earlier single, Trevor. I just loaded it up. We just rebought it on Amazon. so something wrong with my file. So just a little technical information here, so everybody knows what's going on. We have a library, in the studio of all the songs we play. And then from time to time, this is our broadcast PC. This is the one that goes on the road with me for live broadcast. So from time to time, I've got to transfer over the music from one computer to the other so we can do these live interviews, right?
You bet.
And apparently when we copied it over, I guess it just didn't come all the way through. So I don't. That's all I can figure.
You bet, yes, sir.
But now I officially have Drifter in its full 3-minute and 16-second glory.
You bet.
On
yes,
my
sir.
computer instead of like 13 or 14 seconds before. So again, let's go to get back to talking about Mexican Wind. That is the newest single recorded at Studio 3. You're talking about how obviously growth, and it was probably a little easier, and not only you as a young and budding musician, but Eric Castellan over there at Studio 3, who's more of a rock guy.
You bet.
So I give him credit for even working with you, because you're a country guy.
Sir.
I'm not sure how much country he even listens to. You know what I mean?
You bet.
So that must have been some interesting input. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
With the guy such a rock, and I feel like I'm sure you know Weston Rips out of Castroville.
Oh, yes, sir.
Great
Yes, sir.
guy. He has his own studio too. And we've talked about this pretty extensively. How every guy or gal that comes into your studio, you're going to learn a little something from their sound, what they do, and what they offer, or maybe what they can't bring to the table. So the producers are also kind of learning as they go in many ways too.
Yes,
what do you feel? What direction do you feel like you're going in now? And are you still going to continue to work with Eric Studio 3, or are you going to be expanding your horizons to elsewhere, or what's the story?
You bet. I'm headed off to college here, and I guess towards the beginning of the fall semester, around late August. But I do plan on continue working with Eric. Like I said, I've been with him for a long time. I guess probably 7 or 8 years now.
Wow.
And we've developed a really good relationship. And I feel like me and him, especially like you said, we're both growing. He's teaching me the studio side of it, and he's teaching me, or I'm teaching him the kind of country red dirt. And I'll expose him a little bit here. ever since I started doing this Texas and exposing him to that red dirt music, he's starting to, accommodate to that Co-Wetzel kind of sound, that Parker McCullum stuff, and he'll probably never say that out loud.
No, of course not. No,
I'm just kidding. But
I would never ask him. Don't worry.
You bet. But it's just a process of we're both learning, we're both growing, and he's had tons of experience in studios, and I feel like he's just taught me a lot as far as that aspect of it. I guess before I started recording and doing this kind of process, I always thought, that those musicians, they walk in a studio for a day, they do their thing, they walk out, song's ready tomorrow, kind of deal. And it's just the exact opposite of that.
Right, yeah.
It really is a long, extensive process, and I feel like just learning that process and paying my dues, doing that with him. And I feel like he's just been a great mentor in that.
Well, we've been talking about Eric Costian over at Studio 3, downtown Uvalde. Go check those guys out if you're looking for whether it's music lessons or a place to record. Just a fantastic outfit they got going on there. But he's also the bassist and the leader of the band Surge, which is a local hard rock band. So that's what we talk about, the differences that the different things you guys are bringing to the table there. So fantastic. Y'all check out Surge, the rock band, if and when you can. So again, you mentioned going off to college in the fall. Are you staying pretty close to home? Because if you go too far, it'd be kind of hard to get that back here to studio. But then again, I know you're a family guy, so I'm sure you've been visiting. What's the plan as far as music and recording with college life?
I plan on, I'm going down to college in Kingsville, so it's not too far from home. Relatively about 3-hour drive. And I think I do plan on coming home quite a bit. Like you said, I'm a family guy. I'd love to spend time with my parents and just do that kind of thing. Get a home cooked meal from mom when I can.
Absolutely gonna do that. Yeah.
But
and if not, just get the Uvalde restaurants, the Mexican food here.
You bet. Yes, sir. And I just, in college, I'll have a lot of time. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. And I feel like, I'll hopefully get some gigs down there in Kingsville, down in that Corpus Beach area. But I also plan, if I have an idea for a song, or if we just had some time to develop 4 or 5, kind of almost like a little EP, I'd just hope to go back to Eric on some of those days and just be like, hey, even if it's just his opinion, I value his opinion very highly, and I think working with him as much as I can would be very, very beneficial. You bet.
And speaking of going to college, what are you studying? Have you got that all figured out yet? Or are you still just kind of?
You bet. I'm staying in I was born and raised on a ranch, and I've been around the hunting and wildlife aspect of it all my life, and I feel like I'm just I'm making a bold move here. No, I'm just kidding. Just making a move here, going to range and wildlife management and at Kingsville. They have a really good wildlife program down there, and I feel like it'll be a neat fit. So far, it's just been an amazing fit, and just everything, they've been extremely nice and extremely welcoming, and I feel like that's a big deal, at least for me, coming from the South Texas small town area, and I feel like it'll be a really good fit going down there.
So you acquire that skill, that trade. What is your dream scenario? Are you doing that full time and being like a musician on the weekends? How do you see yourself? I'm not asking for like a 5-year plan,
yes,
but how if you right now and you're young and your vision can change too at your age. But how do you see yourself as an adult?
I play music because I genuinely enjoy to do it. And I feel like I love doing this. I love going out here and playing places, whether it be local or whether it be in another state or wherever. I love the entertaining. Not a lot of people say they love the setting up and breaking down. I enjoy all that. And I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna continue to pursue music, when I can, and if it takes me somewhere, it'll take me somewhere. But I feel like, just kind of going to college, getting a degree, just having a job, doing that kind of thing, help support a musician's habit, at least. But I feel like just doing music when I can. Like I said, I enjoy it, and I'm going to do it because I enjoy it.
I love that realistic goal you're setting too. It's
yes,
like,
sir.
yeah, it's absolutely. Again, we got Trevor Black here on the hot mic. He's performing tonight at Broadway 30. The address is 100 East Main Street. We're in beautiful downtown Uvalde. It's actually a lovely night to be outside enjoying some live music. We're going to play a song. Then we're going to come back. And we're going to wrap it up talking about whether you have a band or hired guns. We're going to talk about them, and then the future of what's to come here soon.
Sir.
Okay, so again, this is the one we tried to play first in the show. It's called Drifter. This is the first release. It was recorded kind of throughout that pandemic, time. So y'all check it out, the full version of Drifter by Trevor Black. We are UvaldeRadio.net, and this is Friday Night Live.
drifter. I had it on, I lost it after the damn war. See my brothers die on the battlefield, nightmares nipping at my heels. A homeless soul can't take this kind of soul. Yeah, poor man sure can't take this anymore. Don't drift away.
UvaldeRadio.net. This is Friday Night Live. That's Trevor Black, one called Drifter, the first single released by Trevor, the young man. And back then, I mean, you must have been like, what, 16-ish?
Yeah, I think I was, when we started recording, I was 14.
Wow.
Actually.
Crazy, yeah.
You bet. I was a nervous wreck, I guess you could say, just getting in the studio and, getting in the sound room, when you're sitting there and, you think you sound good and you go in the studio and you're like, wow, that was bad, but it's
On
just,
the playback. Well, and that's everybody. It's like, doing radio and even hearing yourself with the headphones on.
You bet.
I don't think anybody ever gets 100%
You bet.
used to and comfortable in hearing their voice, unless you're just a super egomaniacal, Just,
Yes, sir.
wow, we're getting all kinds of sirens on this
Oh,
program
we
today.
are.
Huh? Yeah. So again, we got Trevor Black here, and again, to remind everybody, that song is in memory of your grandfather as
You
well,
bet.
too,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Dedicated to him. So
Yes, sir.
a really great song lyrically. Well, man, Trevor, it's been good talking to you, getting caught up. Let's go and talk about the band. I know that you do tonight. You're doing kind of a solo acoustic thing.
Yes, sir.
I know you have done full band shows.
bet.
I'm not real sure. It's been a while. So is the band still around, using hired guns, or do you got a core group of guys that you always call?
I do have a core group of guys that I've always called. I've used them for about 3 or 4 years. They were just always been here, reliable and stuff like that. My bass player is out of Sab now, Joe Viasana.
Okay.
Drummer is actually Matt Weissel.
Love Matt Weissel,
You
my
bet.
boy. Love that
You
guy.
bet. I love him. He's a great drummer and just a great guy, And lead guitarist is actually a guy from Del Rio. His name is Laser Sanchez. And,
Laser, that's a great name.
You bet. It is a great name.
Yeah,
He's
you
a-
better be pretty good at the guitar if you're going to call yourself Laser.
Oh yeah, you bet. He is. He is. He's been a great addition to our band, and I feel like that's just been the core group of guys. And I've just been playing shows and stuff with them. I guess for, like I said, about 3 or 4 years, and just doing stuff everywhere. I think our last show was in Del Rio, opening up for a Red Dirt guy, Tristan Mares.
Yeah.
And at the George Paul Bull riding, and it was just we've always been together. We know each other real well. And of course they're all older guys, and it's tough finding a band at least your age or my age at least, being 18 and that's 19-year-old range here in Uvalde. But those guys have just
I
been.
think anywhere really, though. I mean,
You
and I
bet.
think it's also best for a guy like you, who's going to be the lead of the band, to play with some more seasoned
You bet,
individuals.
yes, sir. And I can attest to that completely. They've helped me grow a lot too. They've taught me a lot of stuff as well. Just
well, I think also if you get a group of older guys who are willing to play
bet.
with a guy like half their age,
Yep.
that says something to you about what their dedication level is too.
You bet.
Because not only if you have another bunch of guys your age, 18, 19
Yep.
years old, you also got to deal with their insecurities and their egos and,
Yep.
and their drive
You bet.
and their different, their varied dedication to the band.
You bet, yes,
Some
sir.
guys are going to break up because Yoko Ono gets in. Their girlfriend's going to screw it up.
Yeah, you
Some
bet, you
guys,
bet.
mommy doesn't want them to drive across state lines. You
Yeah,
know,
you bet.
some guy doesn't have the money, the budget, the job to
Yeah.
buy the gear. There's always those issues. But
Yeah,
with older
there always
guys,
is.
you can they're very comfortable usually, and
You
they can
bet.
kind of show up, and they're a little bit more reliable. Wouldn't you say?
You bet. And and just having the experience on stage helps too.
Yeah.
And of course when I started playing with them. Those first couple of years, it was just the experience for me gaining that. Of course, there's going to be your hiccups
Sure.
here and there, and they were just able to help me cruise along through those and help me teach me a lot of things about stage presence and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
just been a really good deal working with them.
Now you mentioned Tristan. Give me an example of some other people we might have heard of that you have warmed the stage for or
You
played
bet.
along with.
Actually, I guess about 2 or 3 years ago, I opened up for Randy Rogers here at Lone Star.
That's awesome.
Back when they were doing those shows and
I
stuff.
remember that show. I was there. That was awesome, man. That's fantastic.
And
it was a huge solo, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
That was ballsy. I'm just gonna say, it's hard enough to get there with a full band, but when you're opening up for Randy Rogers, just you and your guitar,
you bet.
You're just as naked as an exposed nerve. You know what I mean?
Especially being as young as I was too, you know, and it really was just really just an eye-opening experience, you know,
fantastic.
just being able to do that kind of stuff. But you know, Tristan Marias, Randy Rogers, but other than that, you know, I've just been lucky enough to just kind of get these local shows that I've been headlining, you know, and towards the end here of Lone Star, I was you know, just headlining a couple shows there, a couple weekends, and just doing stuff. I've done a lot of stuff out of state recently too.
Cool.
In Louisiana, in Lake Charles out there, they turns out they love. I mean, when I say love, they love Texas music out there. They love it, and they said as soon as you go east 15 miles, they'll never heard of Randy Rogers or a Parker McCullum, you know. But right there in that Lake Charles area, they love it, and it's just it's really fun going out there and doing those kind of shows. You bet.
So I know again you're a student, you're going to college, so
yes, sir.
you know you're doing this more in a part-time kind of thing.
Yes,
but
sir.
any plans to again take the band out and hit the region or out of state? Are there any immediate plans to in here this summer or down the line?
You bet. You know, I try to get as many gigs as I can. You know, whenever they come my way, I try to never turn one down. You know, and I think it's just really the exposure, especially at the state that I'm in now. You know, I'm young, and this is the time to do that. You know, I don't want to be getting older and having a job and having things to do and having to put it off to the side, you know, if somebody offers me a gig on a weekend. But now I try to just take every gig I can, get that exposure, go wherever I can, you know. Like I said, or like you said, actually, I'm still a student, you know, and having to do this kind of part-time and just finding the gaps in your schedule to do it and still take all those gigs. It's just, it's a lot of time management, but at the end of the day, I think it pays off really well.
Now we're going to wrap it up here very soon, but you're 18, you're technically a grown man, but you've been doing this since you were a teen, since you were younger than that. And let's talk about your support system. You got, I believe that's your family right over there.
You bet.
I'm sure you're going to have a good family crowd here tonight. You're Uvalde,
you bet. Yes,
boy.
sir.
Let's talk about the support system and how they have helped you and in the direction, whether it's the musical growth or whether it's just the professional growth. What do they bring to the table?
You know, I'm lucky enough to say that my parents have been my biggest supporters. You know, whenever I need something or whenever I need a piece of equipment or if they need to drive me somewhere like Louisiana, they never turn down that opportunity. And and I feel like that's a real big part of what I've been able to do is having that big support system, you know, and having them, you know, come with these shows with me, you know, and make sure everything's great, everything's good. And it's not I guess the aspect of just being babied, but it's just having that support system there.
Yeah.
It's just having that to fall back on, and I feel like it's been a really, really, I mean, just a huge blessing to have this support system and have that ability to have those family members behind you at all times.
Well, I've dealt with you a little behind the scenes. Your dad has always been pro and very cool, and not only great to work with as far as just on the radio end of it also, but also he's been one to, you know, ask for advice and just kind of, you know what I mean, you know, help navigate stuff with you. So,
like I mentioned earlier, my parents, I mean, I guess to put it in perspective, my brother and sister, they rodeoed and did the stock show and the animal science aspect of ranching, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm really the first one to just go off the rails and do music, you know. And so this is new for them, is new for me, you know. And have them be willing to learn and be willing to, you know, ask those questions and do that kind of stuff is really a big part of my success too. I feel like just having them being able to learn with me, you know, they could have just been like, you know, we don't know anything about music. Why are you doing that? You know,
right.
For have them to be able to be behind my back like that, and it's just been amazing. You bet.
Well, I'll tell you what, Trevor, you make Uvalde proud, and obviously you make your family proud as well too. So, final question: any immediate plans to record anything new, or are you writing any new stuff? And what direction's that going in?
You know, we're actually recording a new single at Studio 3 right now.
Good, very good.
It is a cover. It's a surprise cover. I think when it gets released, I think a lot of people will be caught by surprise. You know, I guess it's a 90s rock song, Matchbox 20.
Wow.
You bet. And just kind of throwing that Texas country flair and doing that to it and adding that aspect to it. And I think it's sounding super good so far. So
Eric will be in his groove too.
Oh, you
know?
bet. You bet. He's enjoyed mixing this one a lot. You bet.
All right. So you got an ETA as to when that might be out?
You know, hopefully at the end of the summer.
Awesome.
The end of the summer is what we're shooting for.
Well,
you know?
we look forward to that, and I guess Give us the website, socials. Tell us how to find your music, man.
You bet. At Trevor Black Official would be my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that extra mile, you know. And I do have a bunch of merchandise and stuff.
Dude,
shirts.
I'm looking over there at the merch sale. Yeah, bumper stickers, koozies,
You bet.
CDs, T-shirts featuring the new single "Mexican Win." That's
You
a pretty
bet.
nice design.
Oh, thank you.
Go,
Thank
keep
you.
on going. What's you got?
You know, just variety of caps, T-shirts. You know, those are the ones I have displayed. But we have tons of T-shirts and tons of koozies and stuff like that. And there is on Studio 3's website, there is a little header there called Trevor Black, and that has my my just electronic press kit. You know, it just has everything, my contact information and stuff like that. And but also, I mean, I'm open on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If somebody wants to send a message for merch or whatever, I'll be more than glad, you know, to Venmo the money and just, you know, first class mail. But I feel like, you know, I guess being younger too, I'm very technologically savvy, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm able to utilize technology a lot. So I feel like, you know, we're out on all socials, we're out on all streaming platforms, and I feel like it's out there. That's for sure.
You're making a point because you're ahead of the curve in a sense that you're youth, you've grown up, like we talked about earlier. You know, you're in a generation that's grown up with a smartphone in your hand.
You bet.
And a lot of people that are, you know, much older than you, they're on a learning curve.
You
They've got to consciously learn how to navigate social media, and even things like PayPal and Venmo and you know, digital wallets and whatnot. So yeah, you're ahead of the curve that way. So man, it's been really cool talking to you, Trevor. Again, like I said, you're one of Uvalde's own pride and joy. So we're looking forward to the show tonight. Looking forward to the new song when that does hit. Please get us a copy when that happens, and we'll play it on the country station and the rock station.
Oh, you bet.
Because we got both. And again, Trevor Black is tonight here at Broadway 830 for Friday Night Live. It's 100 East Main Street, downtown Uvalde. Music should start here in a few. I'm probably gonna make you run a little bit late here.
Oh, it's
coming out here and grab some merch. Find him online at Trevor Black Official. And that is going to wrap it up here for Friday Night Live. Trevor, thanks again, man.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Again, my name is Robert Miguel. This is UvaldeRadio.net, and when we now resume our regular programming.